What's up, guys? How's it going? Hey, Jack, how are ya? Thanks for joining the stream. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Hey Shane, what's going on? I'm good, man. I'm a little tired because I had a long day, and I did like a late workout, which I usually don't do. And now I'm like just really tired, man. How's this look? Glad you guys can see it. How's you, Shane? How are you doing, man? Echo. It should be gone. Let me know if you still hear it. Yeah, sorry. I was just checking the audio. Neural shocks. How's it going, man? What's amazing that I did a late workout? Is that what's amazing? Welcome to the stream, everyone, by the way. Thanks for joining. Say hello in chat if you're here. If you're just like a bot from Afghanistan or Beijing, that's also cool. Bots are welcome. I don't discriminate. Oh, the Noise Marine. Yeah, I'll tell you guys what I'm working on. So I'm working on Noise Marines again, and you guys are probably wondering, Jim, that's all you've been streaming for the last 3 streams. Well, I've been demotivated to stream, and so, or sorry, to paint. And so one of the ways that I motivate myself is to stream while I paint, because then I can, it's like a little bit more interactive, it's a little bit more fun, a little bit more, yeah, I get to hang out with you guys a little bit more. It feels like I'm not just by myself, lonely, painting quietly. So decided to do a little bit of streaming while I paint today. Impromptu, wasn't planning to do it, but figured it'd be a fun time. I got a lot of stuff just on my mind too. So as usual, just gonna kind of rant and rave a little bit about everything. Hey Moomin, how's it going, man? Midlife, thanks for joining. BMO Computers. How's it going? Yeah, so I have these Noise Marines I've been working on just to kind of give you guys an update. What's going on? I'll zoom out a little bit. So I have 10 Noise Marines that I'm working on. I'm trying to get these finished for Charity Hammer. So if you guys don't know, I'm going to Charity Hammer in 3 weeks. At the end of this month, basically, start of August. I actually had Colin Sherman on the show yesterday. We did a one-on-one interview on the whole event. So if you guys didn't get to check that out, check that out on the YouTube channel. It's about an hour-long interview with Colin. We talk about Charity Hammer, we talk about meta, we talk about life, just all sorts of stuff. So I'm basically at a point now where I'm trying to get these Noise Marines done and a Dreadclaw. Those are kind of like the 2 things that I really want to paint in time for Charity Hammer. But I have a lot going on the next like 2 weeks, and yeah. But here's the thing. They're not that far from, like, I know they look like they're not that close, but they're actually not that far either. I'm kind of in one of the more painful steps right now, which I'll kind of show you guys what that looks like. So basically, come on, get in some focus. You guys are drunk. So the Dreadclaw, no, I mean, I finished the base on the Dreadclaw movement, and I've done all the airbrushing, and now I just got to get in with brushwork, but it's like going to be a lot quicker to paint than these. So I want to get these done. So kind of, I'm at the step where all the trim is done, which is a big part. Again, you guys might not realize it, but like just base coating the trim is such a long process for Chaos Marines. It's probably that, and like the main airbrushing and armor is the probably one of the longest steps. So the fact that that's done is actually really good. And now basically what I'm doing is I'm going in, and you guys can kind of see it. I'll see if you can compare it. So this one I've done it to, and this one I haven't. So you'll notice here on the shoulder pads, see how this has a much more darker purple gradient here in the shadow, and this is more blue. Same with the leg if you look at it. So this has a much more darker purple gradient. This is like lighter blue. So basically what I'm doing at this point, this one's actually done, so I'm not gonna paint this one. I just wanted to put it up there to show you. This is a lot more obvious what I'm doing. See this gradient? So I go in with the airbrush normally, right? I do all my gradients. This is like this gradient here is just airbrush, right? So it's pure airbrush. That's pure airbrush, that gradient, right? But it's not that strong because these are very small surfaces. So it's really hard to get nice, super nice gradients. The other thing too is I base coat these purple, like I base coated these in Phoenician purple. And then I went in with like Airman blue and all my blues to do the next airbrush step because I wanted a purple blue transition, but you'll notice they're quite blue. There's not a lot of purple. So what I'm kind of doing now, and again, it's hard to see because that's on camera. The color's a little bit off just because of the color correction, but this is actually a purple color here. So what I'm gonna go do now, and you can notice here, this gradient here, that's purple. So the step here is what I'm basically doing is I'm gonna make a bit of a thin wash, and I'll show you guys what that's gonna look like right here, so you guys can kind of understand what I'm doing. So here's my very nice wet palette. Okay, so right here, this little puddle, this is not water. These ones are water, but this is actually a lamine medium. And what I'm going to add to that is a little bit of Phoenician purple. Again, I don't want to paint here. I'm trying to create basically a wash. So a little bit of Phoenician purple. Okay, get a little focus in there. Just like that. Okay, then I want to increase the saturation because this is quite, I don't know how to describe it, but it's not like intense enough. So I take a little bit of transparent purple by Pro Acryl, and this stuff's like super strong. So even though this is supposed to be like basically a wash, or it's not, okay, so it's not a wash. It's more like an ink almost. It's so thick, it's super thick. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to put a few drops here just so I don't overdo it. You can see how thick it is. See, it's so thick that it doesn't, the surface tension keeps it together. It's like almost like but I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a little bit of that in there. And what that's going to do is it's really going to like intensify the purpleness, right? So you see how like intense that got, that purple? It went from like kind of like a almost like a dull desaturated wash to like this really intense like kind of deep dark purple. So that's going to be my wash. And then I'm just going to use actually a little bit of airbrush thinner. I know this seems weird, but what this is, yeah, so I'm making kind of like a crazy glaze here. So what the airbrush thinner is going to do, and again, I'm going to put a few drops here. This is going to help break the surface tension. So guys, of the this little wash, so it flows better. So I want you guys to watch what happens when I just put a little drop of this airbrush thinner. Watch what happens to the surface tension of this. So this is it's on my brush. See how, did you guys notice that? See how like immediately kind of like it changed? And see how like kind of loose it is now, right? And see how it's kind of flowing now. So that airbrush thinner actually will help thin it out a bit more. Yeah, science, guys, crazy. And you just give it a bit more of a glazy property. You can see how it's like it's kind of pooling really weird and it's very flat. It doesn't have that like traditional domey look of a wash. And then I'm just gonna test it now. So take a little my brush here, and I'm just gonna check it. So that's good. It's quite thin. Let me zoom that in. Okay, so it's quite thin. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a marine that has not had this treatment. So I'm gonna take this marine here. I'm gonna put this back out of the camera, so just so it's out of the way. So here's my marine. Gangster, sorry, neural shock dubs. I'll answer your question in a sec. Let me just take you through this. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my glaze, and I'm using a very thin brush, and I'm basically gonna pull down like this. Like that. So see that glaze there? So now I've basically glazed in some purple down into the bottom, back into the bottom. Okay, so, and I'm not gonna do this for everything, but I'm gonna do it for a lot of the marines, and it's a fairly kind of quick process. So I'm just gonna kind of go in, I'm gonna glaze it, so you can watch here. I'm gonna glaze it kind of here. I'm gonna glaze it at the bottom of the greave. So you can see how quick I'm doing this. I'm just pulling it down really quickly. I'm not being super careful. I'm gonna glaze a little bit here, there, kind of the bottom of this greave. And what that's gonna do is gonna kind of just build up my purple kind of tone back into the lower parts where the airbrush didn't really get it. And because it's a glaze, it's gonna be a lot smoother, right? Now, you're saying, well, Jim, you just went and ruined your airbrush transition. But wait, let me show you guys what happens next. So this, I'm just gonna paint here. Let me just finish this one. I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do. Paint a little bit here. Paint a little bit here. So again, just into like the very bottom darkest crevasses. Just basically just reintroducing that purple, I guess, yeah, I guess I'm just reintroducing that like purple, purpleness, I guess, if that makes sense. Let me see here. Yeah, exactly. Well, one thing, if you'd watched the rest of this, the wash I actually used for the gold and the blue was actually more of a purple than a blue. Okay, so I'm just glazing that in. You can see how fast I do this, and really I'm just doing the largest areas. It's not like an exact process. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just like this. Just like under the elbow here, under the greaves. Okay, bottom of these greaves. You can see I'm not spending a ton of time on this. I'm not really thinking about it. I'm not like trying to place these in a perfect spot. And it doesn't matter if I get it on the gold here, because the gold is already a little bit purpley. And also I'm going to be going back and highlighting my gold later. And when I do my highlights, a little bit of that purple in the edges is not going to hurt it. I'm going to just make sure to get around here, kind of the dark crevasses areas, maybe behind the neck. And then on the shoulder, the backpack, I'm basically going to paint it all in here, and because I'm going to highlight that later as well. Okay, so that's kind of like this step. Hey, BMO Computers, thanks for the follow. So that's kind of this first step. And I'll get to the next step in a sec. Let me answer a few questions. So Neural Shock, you asked what airbrush I use. So this guy here, it is a Cult of Paint Infinity. It's like it's made by Harder and Steenback. So if you want to get this specific exact airbrush, just Google Harder and Steenback Infinity. This one right now has a 0.2 millimeter needle in it, but I also have a 0.35 millimeter needle, I believe, for it. So I would recommend, if you're just gonna have a single airbrush, to get a second needle set. I think it's 0.4, so I have a 0.4 needle and a 0.2. This airbrush specifically, this Cult of Paint version, was from a Kickstarter that they did, but you can get this exact airbrush, just not the blue with the gold. It's like silver, I think. If you just go to Harder and Steenback and Google, yeah, just look for the Infinity. So that's what I use. And it's kind of dirty. I should probably clean it. That doesn't look so good. I'll add a little water in there. I'll add a little bit of airbrush cleaner, just let it soak for a bit. So that's what I use. And sorry, Oscar, your question for the backpacks. These backpacks are from Cromlech, I believe. They are called Bedlam Fraternity backpacks, right? So then what I do with this, and I'm just going to show you guys this step, even though it's not the step I do right now, but I will do this down the road. I'm going to take some almond blue, and because this is my mid-tone, I'm going to make a little wash with that, and that basically I'm going to do the opposite. So whereas before I was like pulling down into the crevasses, the almond blue I'm going to basically pull up, basically across that area where there's like the little transition line. And yeah, you guys are probably thinking, Jim, that's a lot of fucking steps for this armor, but it's just my method, right? Like I like to have very, very cool, when you're doing really tiny transitions like this, it does take a little bit of work. This ain't your mama's Space Marines, you know, where you can just go one, like I don't do a lot of edge highlighting on these. So you just paint in some almond blue here, and just like that. Again, very thin glazes almost. Just like this. And that's going to kind of help blend that transition. And then I will do an edge highlight eventually at the end. And I'll show you guys what the final result looks like. Just one sec. So this is a Terminator sorcerer I painted. Okay, so you can see here. Now in this specific case, I didn't use purple. So this is, I just want to be clear, for these Emperor's Children models, because they are Emperor's Children, right? Instead of having blue, like dark blue as the darkest shade, I went with dark purple because I wanted to give them a bit of that Emperor's Children Noise Marine vibe, a little bit of purple infused. On my normal Thousand Suns, I do this exact method, except instead of using Phoenician purple as my base coat and as like the color that I use to do that shade, I use Thousand Suns blue and then Incubi Darkness, and it enables me to get see this blend here, this transition. So on these very, very small surfaces, right, I get really smooth transitions. So look at this. So this is just a very small surface. So to do that with an airbrush is actually really hard, right? Because you have to basically airbrush these really tiny transitions, right? You're seeing here. This light, and then so you can still see that there's an edge highlight here. I did a very little bit of edge highlight, but that's the very last step. But essentially that's the process, right? So look at here, this transition here. Okay, so that's essentially what the end result back here as well. So that's essentially what the end result is going to be on the Noise Marines. But instead of it being dark blue to light blue, it's going to be kind of dark purple to light blue. So that's kind of the end result. This is a Terminator source that I converted up as well. You guys like it? It's got glowing eyes. Oh. That's actually one of my favorite models that I've converted recently. So, anyways, so that's the process, and then I go and highlight the gold. Once the gold and the armor is done, these models are like 90% done. All right, so that guy's done. Now I'm gonna move on to the next one. And while I do that, I guess let's talk shop, guys. Yeah, so when I'm doing oh yeah, one other thing. Clubfoot is I will sometimes go, and this sounds super insane, after it's painted, sometimes I'll go in and I'll actually do a very thin airbrush. Let me see if I can actually do it now, just to show you. I don't know if this is gonna work because my airbrush is, I left it kind of gnarly. So let me see if I can clean it. Hold on, I'll show you what I do. And this is where the 0.2 needle comes in handy. That's fucking gross. Look at my needle, it's all cloggy. Okay, so what I'll do, hopefully this works, but my airbrush is kind of dirty, so we'll see if it does. Okay, so this is what I'll do on these models. So let's grab that model that I was just working on the transition, and I'll show you guys what I do. Hey J-Raps, thanks man. So what I'll do is I'll make a little glaze with my mid-tone. That's super thin. Appreciate that. Neural Shock, I'll answer your question in a sec, just one step at a time. So I'll make a super thin glaze of with my airbrush of, say, almond blue. Okay. So here's my glaze. I just did a little bit because it's... Let's see how thin that is. And then what I'll do is I'll actually literally, after the model's painted, I'll come in. and I'll go in with the airbrush like that. Just turn down the pressure a little bit. And thanks to the small needle size, I basically go in like this, and I can smooth out those transitions even more from like literally like quarter inch away. And because it's a small needle, I can get really small. So see that now? See how much smoother that blend is? Right? So now that's where the small needle comes in really handy. Is I can kind of go in and I can actually re-blend and glaze back in my blends with the airbrush when it's this small, when it's a smaller needle. You can't do that with a larger needle because the spray pattern's too big. And I've talked a little bit about how I actually achieve, like how do I airbrush that close and that carefully, but it just really comes down to pressure and distance is the biggest things. So just like that. You see that? So you can see I didn't get any oversplash, right? So I managed to kind of glaze that in just that one spot. You can see how smooth that is, right? Right. So anyways, so that's where the 0.2 comes in. That's now again, guys, you gotta understand, like, there's probably a better way to do this. Like, I feel like a better painter than me who's like figured out shit like ancient Chinese techniques might be able to like do this much more efficiently, but this is just the way that I've done it and it gives me good results. And I guess I'm just too lazy to like not necessarily too lazy, but I don't want to all of a sudden change it midstream. I'm just gonna clean up my airbrush. Okay, so airbrush is clean. That away. All right, so let's get back to it. So see how that transition looks now? Right, so if you look at, say, the difference between this one, I don't know if you guys can tell, it's a little bit shiny because of the Airbrush Medium. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference. So this is before, this is after the airbrush. So it just helps. Same with this. It just basically, you use that airbrush at a very fine level, at a very close distance to basically glaze in your mids back, and basically just help smooth out any of the transitions so it's nice and smooth. So it's like smooth as butter. And then now keep in mind, this wasn't done. I just kind of did this quickly to show you guys on stream. I still had to do the edge highlights and then probably do even a higher, like a glaze of a lighter blue up top. But I just want to show you guys kind of where I'm going with this. All right, so I'm just gonna continue glazing these guys in while you guys do your thing. All right, so let's talk stuff. So I guess a few announcements, even though there's not that many of you here. Yeah, that's the idea. So Clubfoot, that's a hard question to answer. So I actually have, I used to be able to tell you, I'd say between 5 to 10 PSI, which sounds crazy low. It is crazy low. But when you're airbrushing that close to something, you have to go low pressure. And I actually have here on my airbrush, this little guy here. So I used to actually adjust my airbrush pressure from my compressor, which is down below my desk. But that was kind of annoying because the pressure gauge is there. I had to kind of reach every time. So I purchased one of these, it's a quick release pressure valve. So basically, I can quick release my airbrush out like that. And then also I can adjust the pressure. I can kill it. So this is dead. And then I can slowly turn up the pressure. You can hear, oh, you guys can't hear it because there's a noise gate. But basically I can kind of turn up the pressure there. And so for me, I know the pressure by sound, by the sound of how much air is coming through. I can usually tell the pressure by just the sound of, because like what 5 PSI sounds like out of my airbrush, I know compared to like 20 PSI for the most part. So I airbrush at a very close distance. The key with airbrushing that close is very low pressure and then very thin paint, because otherwise, if your paint's too thick at that low pressure, if your paint's too thick, it'll clog your airbrush. So you need to go super thin, and that allows you to get really close without it spidering as well, because it's low pressure. And then you gotta be really good on your trigger control. So what I usually do is like I always go full air, and then I very gently kind of rock back like this. I'm very slow with it. I'm not like, you know, doing this kind of craziness. And then once I find, what I do is like I go down like this, and then once I find the distance back that is like the perfect amount of paint, instead of going back up again, I just basically pulse it like this. So I keep my finger at that trigger distance, I guess, if that makes sense. So like say I'm painting something and I realize that all the way down in here at this trigger point is the perfect level. What I'll do is I will, instead of now going back and up, I will just keep it there, but I'll just go up and down from there. The other thing you can do is, if you have an airbrush like mine, they have these little trigger locks, right? So what this does is when I tighten this like this, it actually prevents the trigger from going back. So, let me just see here. Is that, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? I think I went the wrong way. So right here, I can go all the way back, no problem. If I screw this out like this, a bunch. Oh, that's weird. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. This is supposed to be the trigger lock. Anyways, I don't want to. That's a whole lesson I could go on it and on it. So we're gonna move on. But hope that answers your question. All right. Okay, so a few things, guys. Announcements while you guys are here. Not that everyone's going to be here, but Politics and Plastic, unfortunately, was originally scheduled for tomorrow, but I will not be streaming tomorrow just because I had a guest host lined up and it kind of fell through, and I wasn't able to get a second guest host for the topic. And so instead of doing the topic by myself, which I could definitely do, I much prefer having a host there with me, someone that I can kind of bounce ideas off and actually have a discussion with. I decided to just cancel it, and I'm just gonna take the night off, and that's part of the reason I'm streaming tonight as well. But we will do the topic in the future, so do not fret. And then yeah, that's kind of the only announcement I really have. Stream schedule for next week, I'm gonna put up probably tomorrow. But yeah, as I mentioned in a previous cast, I'm gonna be basically the end of this month is gonna be a little bit of a reduced schedule, just because I'm away a few of the weekends. I'm just busy, guys. It's summer. Like I really want to be spending it outdoors and like hanging out with my friends and traveling and doing like fun things. So the first bit of August will definitely be a little bit quieter on the streaming front. But I'll let you guys know. So Clubfoot, I haven't tried their newest ones. I have one Bombwick, these ones, which is their brand. So I have one of those, and it's fine. It's nothing crazy, but I haven't used it enough. Honestly, I have a brush problem, and I've talked about this before. I literally have like way too many brushes that are like brand new and never been used. Hold on. So anyways, yeah, so I'm sure I'll try them eventually because I have a brush addiction and I always end up buying brushes. Next time I do an order from them, I'll probably grab a set, but I'm not going to just order them for the sake of trying them because I just don't. I'm very happy with my my Rosemary & Co's. I don't see any reason to kind of try stuff. Now, if anyone from Monument Hobbies is watching this, and they want to send me a set for me to review on the channel, I'll happily take some. Obviously, no guarantees that it'll be a good review because I don't, that's not how I roll. But yeah. Or if any of my lovely audience just want to send me a set to review and use, I'll also take those. Yeah, so a few other things going on. What do you guys think of the new orc stuff so far? I've heard, I've seen some leaked rules from various discords. Sounds like a lot of the players are not happy so far from what's been revealed. I don't know. You know, I heard rumors that orcs were actually going to be very good, but I heard it was like a lot of the like non like basic stuff that's really good. So I'm really curious to see. Yeah, the rules so far are meh, to be honest, man. Like, I mean, we haven't seen what Daca means, like beyond just that there's a weapon type. Like, can they advance and shoot them? Is there penalties? Can they shoot them in combat? Can they shoot them like you can with non-blast weapons, right? If you're a vehicle, like can vehicles with DAC weapons shoot them in combat? You know, what kind of buffs and other things do they have for DACA weapons that we're maybe not seeing? The actual, and then, you know, obviously we saw the buffs for the big wah, but like it's not that strong, right? So far from my yeah, I'm glad though, like, to be honest, we haven't seen the Daca rule, which I'm kind of glad for because I feel like it slowed down the game so much, especially with orc shooting, having like so many shots to begin with. So I'm kind of glad that if that rule doesn't come back, the additional shots on sixes, because you didn't end up actually even, it just felt like you were rolling a lot of extra dice, but like you never really got much out of it, right? So it always felt like it was kind of slowing down the game a little bit for like very little gain, but obviously you're still gonna roll those dice, right? Because you want the free stuff. So I think they should just improve the yeah, and just improve the guns to the level where it's not really necessary. But yeah, so far nothing in there I'm like, wow, that's really awesome. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I very much doubt that after Sisters Yukari and Admac being so strong, that orcs just come out and they're just like a flop. But I don't know, maybe it's, you know, the bin guy from writing the rules, right? Yeah, I think that's better. Hey Clubfoot, thanks for following, man. Almost at 500, guys. On Twitch. So if you're on YouTube, follow me on Twitch. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm kind of like annoyed though by the whole release thing, like the fact that if the Orc Codex doesn't come out the following week from the box, I'll be really pissed. I'd be really pissed as an Orc player, right? If they make you wait like 2, 3, 4 weeks for the actual Codex, I'd be so pissed, because you know that Beast Naga box is gonna be super hard to get. I bet you most people that want it won't even be able to get it. It's gonna be like instantly sold out on Games Workshop. All the LGS is probably gonna get like one copy of it, right? So if I was an Orc player and I knew that that was the only place my rules were gonna come, and I'm not gonna get those rules in like a regular purchase for quite a while, because like what other codex had to deal with? What other codex had to go through that? No, none of them, right? All the other armies just getting their codexes right away. They're not having to like do this like fucking whole song and dance where their codex is out, but like you can't actually get it, right? So I'd be kind of pissed if I was an Orc player. Yeah, but that was an 8th edition, dude. That was like a year and a half ago. That wasn't the start of 9th where we're still all waiting on codexes. You know? And it wasn't like they had like, yeah, I mean, you're right, Shane, but I would have been pissed then too if I was a Sisters player, right? At least back then, the model range wasn't, like, at least back then, like, you couldn't even get the models either, right? So it's not like all these people had these, like, full Sisters armies, and then they're just waiting on the book. Like, whereas with orcs, like, most people have full orc armies. I just really hope they nerf, and I hate to say this, I really hope they nerf, yeah, but like, what is, that could be like the end of, that could be in August, that could be in fucking September, right? Like, who knows? I just hope they don't, sorry, I just hope they nerf mech guns enough so that orc armies aren't, like, I think mech guns should be included. I hope they buff them enough, but then point them enough so that mech guns are good and they're like, just like someone's taking a heavy support choice, but you can't run 18 in an army, because that for me feels like a feel badsies orc army. Now obviously I'm not an orc player, so it's easy for me to say that, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel very orky for me for having these armies with like 18 mech guns. Plus, who wants to buy fucking $60 models for mech guns? Yeah, I know that. I feel ya. I'd be pissed if I was Sisters player. I mean, in fact, I'd be pissed if I was just about every I guess only AdMech players and Drukhari players should really be happy right now. Everyone else is kind of in a shit place. Doesn't have everything that they need. Everyone else is living in poverty basically compared to Sisters and sorry, AdMech and So anyways, I am excited for the orc book, because that means Thousand Suns come after. I just hope that, I know they previewed the Castell and Crow first. I hope that doesn't mean that Grey Knights is going to be out like a lot before. I hope it's kind of like a dual release where it's like, here's the army box and here's the 2 books all in 1 week. That would be really great, because I assume that those models, the Infernal Master, which is the Thousand Suns new model, which is not what we needed. Like, the army did not need more characters. Like, it's got Zangor Shamans, it's got Aspiring, like, Armin, it's got Exalted Champions. Like, I guess it doesn't have that many characters to begin with, but, like, Sorcerers, Demon Princes, and Exalted Sorcerers is enough, and the Zangor Shamans is enough for me, you know? I don't think they, like, I would have much rather had an actual unit for the army that's like Thousand Suns than another character. It's just the last thing that I really think the army needs. Hey Richard, how's it going, man? I said Cromlech for the backpacks. Didn't I? I'll put it in chat right now. One sec. Did I say Spellcrow? I could have misspoke. Maybe I did say Spellcrow at some point. It's definitely Cromlech though. They're called, here, I'm gonna link it in chat for you in a sec. No, what is it? Aha. There you go. Get out of here. I don't have any mods, guys, so it's just me. So give me a sec. Should be gone. I mean, I do want some followers. I do want to become famous. So can you guys make me famous? Does anyone want to be a mod on my channel? I don't have any mods. I could use a mod. Or two. I think they're gone. I banned them. I'll feel like a real Twitch streamer once I have a mod, you know? One sec, guys. I'm just trying to get rid of these, the bad men. How do I even ban people? Let's see here. No, that's not how I do it. How do I get to my mod chat? I know there's a way here. Ha! Mod view. That's what I do. See, guys? I'm still learning. Okay, here we go. Now let's ban some fuckers. Let's ban some fuckers! Ban! See you later. This guy here. I'm not gonna report you. I'm just gonna ban you. Oh, who do I? Yeah. No, you're banned. This guy here. Ban. This guy here. Ban. Boom. Alright, there we go. Yeah, the problem is I can't ban from OBS, so I have to actually go to Twitch. That's the only thing, right? I can't ban. So I read my chat in OBS, from my chat bot, from my restream chat. Okay, no strats. Oh, Nonstop Gamer Guy, thanks, man. Yeah, dude, I hear ya. Nonstop Gamer Guy, thanks for the cool quote. I appreciate it. I can't pay you guys. Templars can get a sub. Yeah. Okay, Deuce. Come on, man. The thing is, Templars have had a book before. Emperor's Children have never had a book, right? So, Black Templars used to have had codexes multiple throughout many editions. Hey, man. Thanks, Maru. Appreciate it. Hello? Are you going to... You're playing in Lone Star, Richard? I presume? Or are you streaming? Are you helping, like, stream and stuff? I don't know, Neuroshock. That's cool. I hope they paid for your ticket, whoever is sending you down there. I have not played Rich. I think I've met him once, but I have not played him. Maybe I'll get a chance to play Maturity Hammer. That's great. I mean, it's nice that I feel like Richard. I feel like they can afford to fly you down because tickets are so fucking cheap right now. But like in a year, they're gonna be like, yeah, we can't afford it. Well, I'm actually glad that they're actually streaming because they weren't planning. They didn't stream. ACO. So Neural Shocks, I'm not sure. I just remember I didn't play 4th edition. I played 3rd edition, and then I played 8th edition. Hey Wyatt, man, how's it going? Thanks for joining the stream. What's going on? So I have no idea if they got a book then. Okay, so I've heard from a source who I trust, who's heard from another source who they trust, who's heard from another source. Like I'm 4 degrees of separation on the hearing, and I can actually say that I've heard that the books are coming, Emperor's Children and World Eaters. Now when they come, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure those books are coming. I don't know if it's gonna be part of a larger Chaos release. I don't know the weight. Is it gonna be like a supplement with all the Trader Legions? I know people are saying, but like I know, like this is why I don't even like to talk about it, because so many people will say the same shit. But it's like, I actually like the person that I'm knowing, like it's like from playtesters. It's from playtesters. It's not from like a rumor guy. It's like from playtesters. Obviously I can't say more than that. But, and I don't know when, right? Because here's the thing, the playtesters get like rules, and it could be like 3 years before those rules come out. So it's not like when they get their rules correlates at all to some like future release. So you could get rules and they could be 6 months release, or it could be like 12 months, or it could be 2 years, or it could be 5 years. There's just no way to like track it. And also, just because you have rules for something doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get models, right? Or it's not clear what models you're going to have. No Jim Bob at the FLGS. Oh, nice, dude. What are you running, Wyatt? Like Emperor's Children jank, drop pods, basically the only good thing right now. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, here it's one, like this is why I don't talk about it, because like everyone that speculates that the book is coming out basically just says that it's coming out because it has to come out, like, or they read like I don't know, Fulgrim shows up in some fucking random like short story, and they're like, oh, there's a short story with Fulgrim in it, which means Emperor's Children's coming out. Or there's like, they mention Angron in a fucking novel, so World Eaters are coming out. Like they base their like conclusion that they're getting a book based on like nothing really like factual. It's just based on like speculation. If someone was like, hey, I have a rumor, like oh yeah, I guess the lists aren't released yet, Jack, so I won't I don't know if the lists are released in are they? Like, can you see the people's lists already? Oh, nice, dude. That is a weird list, but fuck, man, good luck. I love the Achilles though. That's hilarious. Did those go down at all in the chapter proof? I know the regular Land Raider went down, but did the Achilles go down at all? Like the other variants? Fuck, dude, 365. I can get a fucking Bellacore for 365. You know, that's mental. It's like, what would you have that Bellacore fucking Land Raider Achilles? Like, it's just so stupid. Or like 3/4 of a fucking Primarch. Land Raider should be like 200 points. Change my mind. Land Raider should be 200 points, like around 220 points, and they should also allow you to disembark the turn after moving, because they have the assault ramp. Like that, literally, that's That's literally like what Land Raiders should do. Like, I would pay if a Land Raider for 220 points, or let's say, like, yeah, a Land Raider should probably be around 200 points, I'd say. If you think of a Raider, what is a Raider, 90? Right? Raider's 90 points. I would argue 2 Raiders is harder to kill than 1 Land Raider. And it does more damage, because I'll take 2 Dark Lances over 4... I'll take 2 Dark Eldar Dark Lances over 4 Last Cannon shots. Didn't they go up to 10 points to 90, Richard? I thought they went up a bit. Anyways, doesn't matter. They're trash. But okay, hear me out for a sec. For the price of 2 Raiders, yeah, so that's the other thing too. 2 Raiders, fly, move faster, smaller profile, better guns, hold 20 versus 10, right? And yeah, they're easier to kill, but actually I'd argue with the invulnerable save, have 6 more wounds, I think, because Land Raiders have, what, 16 wounds? So they have 4 more wounds, or 8 more wounds. Don't Raiders have 12 wounds? I can't remember, 12 or 10. But like, why wouldn't, yeah, like 2 Raiders is better than 1 Land Raider, and 2 Raiders is like 180 points. So Land Raider should be less than like 170 points, realistically, right? And like, here's the thing. They need to incorporate, and actually I think Game Workshop needs to think about this more. They need to incorporate like the model, physical model itself into the points like calculation, because guess what? If you have a Land Raider that doesn't fly, there's literally like 2 places you can put it on most tables. And on most tables, there's like 1 lane you can actually drive it down. That alone means that it should be cheaper than it's worth. Because if you literally can't fly and your fucking model's like this wide, right? Because it's like a giant shoebox, then that should be accounted for in the points of the model. Like how hard is it to actually play on the table, right? And same thing with things like Khorne Lord of Skulls, with Knights, with giant shit that like is just so unwieldy that like half the table they can't even move around. They should incorporate the fact that these models are like so hard to actually physically play on the table. Like, stats aside, they should incorporate that into the cost of the model. I think that would make a lot of sense. But instead, you get a fucking 300 point brick with no invulnerable. Oh, dude, yeah, Lord of Skulls is like it. You can't, like, half the tables, if you played WTC, you couldn't even move it. Yeah, like, that's the thing, right? People are gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna create lanes to block your Lord of Skulls. You know? I hope it's not, you don't have anything more than 4 inches. Yeah, don't forget Fire and Fade, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but like, how wide is the Lord of Skulls? It's probably more than 6 inches. A Land Raider is probably 6 inches. Like, if you count the sponsons on the Land Raiders, it's probably 6 inches minimum. Yeah, Dr. Dudes, that sucks, man. But like, honestly, how many inches? You're probably gonna be happy with that, though. I think you're gonna be like, I think you're gonna be like pleasantly surprised by the train rules. So it's probably, you should be happy that they changed them and didn't leave them in the old style. Yeah, okay, 5 inches is not bad. You know, it'd be really funny on the Land Raider if you put one of the sponsons on like the front left and then one of the sponsons on the back right, so that like at the widest point it's only like it's only the width of the Land Raider and half a sponson, and then it like adjusts so you can kind of like at an angle kind of it's like less wide than like if you put them side by the same distance, you know what I'm saying? And you just kind of like drove it kind of at a weird angle, so it's always skinny. That'd be really funny. Someone should do that. Yeah. Yeah, Achilles Land Raiders are fucking chonky, man. It's a shame too, because it's such a cool model. Like, I remember, guys, when that current plastic Land Raider kit came out, and so I like when I was a kid and a teenager, I used to get my white dwarfs and I would literally cut up pictures of like Warhammer shit and I would put them on my wall. So I had one wall in my bedroom and it was like this big, and it was top of my ceiling to the bottom covered in pictures of like Warhammer shit that I'd cut out from White Dwarf. So I'd taken like probably like 30 or 40 or 50 issues of White Dwarf and just taken scissors to them and cut out pictures of models, artwork, anything that I could find that was like cool Warhammer shit, and I cut it out and I put it on my wall, not framed, just like with blue sticky tack. So I had a whole wall of Warhammer stuff. And I remember, and I also had the posters, because you used to get these cool posters with White Dwarfs, and when that Land Raider came out, they released this like really cool giant poster that was like a schematics design of the Land Raider, and that was like the centerpiece like thing of my wall of Warhammer art, was this cutaway schematic poster of the Land Raider. And I just remember it being like me having such a cool memory of that and it being such a cool model. And so it's a shame that it just turned out such garbage, you know? Like that, it's just so unplayable, because it's always been such a cool model. I used to have a Chaos Land Raider too back in the day, in my 3rd edition Chaos Army. That was like one of my favorite models. Just fucking covered in spikes and fucking skulls and shit. I want to eventually paint one up for my Chaos. It's just more as like, it's just like a to have, because it's such an iconic model, right? The backpacks are from Cromlech. They're called Bedlam Fraternity backpacks. They're for like Noise Marines, basically. I mean, Clubfoot, do you want the truth? The truth is probably no. Like 30 assault intercessors is too many, I'd say, to put in any list. I would maybe put 10 in a list if you're going to. Combat squad them if you need to, but 30 is definitely way too many to have in one army, in my opinion. You're gonna give up too many other things that you'll want in your list to fit 30 in. So if I were you, I would take 20 of those assault intercessors and trade them for other things. See if you can get some like Wolf Guard or like Thunderwolf Cavalry or Terminators or Long Claws, which are the guys. Is it Long Claws with the like that's your Devastators. They also have I think some of their Firstborn Marines are pretty good, like their the Blood Claws, I'm thinking, and then Long Fangs is what I'm thinking. Long Fangs and Blood Claws. I think those are the two different ones. Hey, Sabatman, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I mean, no one can justify buying one. I'm just saying it's a cool model. It's like such an iconic model. And it's just a shame that they're not good, you know? Yeah, sorry, I was getting confused. Long Fangs are the devs, And I said long claws. Long fangs are the devastators, and blood claws are like the, I think it's like the novice marines. And I'm pretty sure, and they also have that strat that lets you ignore hit penalties on stuff. So that's nice. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Sorry guys, just one sec. Anyways. Alright, I had some other things to talk about, but I've been distracted. Oh, fuck. Now I gotta answer Andrew's book. Okay, so that's a good question. Let me try to think about them. I read all of them. Up to Mortis. I'm almost done Mortis. But I'm gonna actually pull up my Horus Heresy reading order because I don't feel like I'll remember them all off by heart. Horus Heresy reading order. Where are you? Good question though. Let's see here. I just realized my pants are on backwards, like inside out. I'm wearing like joggers, and I just realized they're. I put them on kind of in the dark my dark hallway. Okay. To answer your question, let me see here. I can tell you, Flight of the Eisenstein is definitely one of my favorites. The original Horus trilogy, I kind of think of them as one book because they're so like, they're so tied into each other, and I think it's probably like one of my favorites on account of the fact that like it's just an iconic sorry, my browser's being really weird. It's just like an iconic group, and I almost kind of consider them in one book. Prospero Burns, no, sorry, 1,000 Suns and Magnus the Red, probably definitely my top 5 because I love 1,000 Suns. And then for that, I'm just gonna pull up the books here. So I really liked Unremembered Empire. See, it's hard, man. There's so many books and they're all so good, and I like them for different reasons, right? So Unremembered Empire I like because it's very Primarch heavy. Eye of Terra, Master of Mankind, definitely top 5. Master of Mankind's amazing. The Crimson King is what I meant to say. So the Crimson King, and then 1,000 Suns, 2 of my favorite for sure. And then The Lost and the Damned is really good. Oh no, that's Siege of Terra. I meant to say Slaves to Darkness, John French. Those are probably my top ones. I could tell you my least favorite for sure. Most of the Dark Angels ones I don't like. Especially the ones, yeah, exactly, Mubin. So most of the Dark Angels ones by Gav Thorpe I don't like. I just don't like the story of Caliban. Like, I like Lionel Johnson. I think he's a bit of a lame piece of shit, but I just don't like the story. The worst one, though, is definitely fucking Damnation of Pythos. It's like, it's literally like, you're like, why did you guys write this book? It's literally like, in the middle of the whole Horus Heresy, they're like, hey, we're gonna write a book where dinosaurs fight space marines for absolutely no change in the whole Horus Heresy. Like, the book could literally not exist, and it makes no difference in the entire Horus Heresy. And it's basically just space marines fighting dinosaurs on a Exodite planet, and it's just really dumb. I like all the salamander ones because I really like salamanders. They're probably my favorite space marine chapter. So I like all the ones with Vulcan, Deathfire, Vulcan Lives, those ones. Nick Kine, Vulcan Lives, essentially. And then any of the ones that are about like the Webway, the Custodes, and then the kind of like the Silent War. Any of the ones that are about basically the war in the Webway, I really like. So because that for me is one of the areas of the background that's like so unexplored. Is this like is like the Emperor's Secret Project, the Webway Project, like the war in the shadows underneath Terra while all the Horus Heresy was happening. All the like kind of intrigue and craziness that Malkador is up to. That's why I really liked what was it called? It was like a prequel book. It's called I think it's Valdorth, Birth of the Imperium was really good. And I actually really liked Alfarius. So if you haven't read Alfarius, which is not a Horus Heresy book, it's one of the Primarch books, highly recommend it because it goes into how do I say it without giving spoilers? It's set across a large span of time. It ends all the Primarch books, as far as I know, or this one at least, ends before the Heresy. But this one basically starts a long time before even the like Great Crusade and the Primarchs were discovered. And I won't say much more than that, but it gives you a lot of background into like the whole thing with the Thunder Warriors and like that whole situation on Terra. Around the time when the like Space Marine Legions were getting created and Malkador and the Emperor were basically unifying Terra, like Unification Wars. Alfarius has a bunch around that time. A bunch of it's set there. And so I found that really interesting. And also it's got a really cool ending. I'm about... How far am I into Mortis? So I'm on Mortis right now. I have 11 hours left on the audiobook. It's quite a bit. I've been slow on it. Usually I'm a lot faster on the audiobooks, but I haven't been painting much, guys. I've just been like, it's been hard to paint and stay motivated. And a lot of times when I paint, I'm streaming, so I can't really listen to audiobooks. I've just been out of my groove a little bit, you know? Know what I'm saying? Okay, so I've done all the shading now. So now I'm going in with a little bit of Armand Blue, and I'm basically going to start highlighting all the armor. And this is a little bit thicker. This is not a glaze of Armand Blue. This is actually like paint thickness Armand Blue. But it is thin enough that it will help basically hide some of the transitions. Dude, Andrew, man, I could talk all day about the books. I love the books. I'm such a lore wonk. Have you read, Andrew, have you read the Beckwin trilogy and the Eisenhorn trilogy? Let me... Yeah, Dad, it's not even that it's school, Sabbath. It's just like with summer, like literally like tomorrow I'm going out to dinner and to the beach. That'd be cool. Do you wanna come on and be my you want to come on and talk about it? You can be my co-host for that episode. Let me know. I'd have you on. Okay, sounds good, man. I'll show you a DM and we'll set it up. How about that? I love it when people come to me with topics. So now, guys, what I'm doing is I've gone and I've done the purple shading. I've gone in and now I'm going in with my arm and blue, and I'm basically painting in through my transitions and kind of re-blending it. So you can see here, building up the midtones basically. Dude, you gotta read Ravener. The Ravener trilogy is amazing. I'd argue it's as good as Eisenhorn. It's such a different vibe though, because Ravenor is such a different character, right? But I don't think you can read like, and also it adds so much depth to the Beckwin trilogy that I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice that you don't read it. One of the other things, guys, about the way that I do my painting is this is the first step. So all the other steps are kind of like base coats, washes, glazes, all that kind of stuff, right? This is the first step where I'm going in carefully with a brush. Sorry, I've been I don't say battling a cold, but you know when you have like kind of a weird sore throat and like you're very mucusy. I know you guys are probably grossed out right now, but you get like weird, like kind of chunky yellow mucus. I'm at that point of like a sore throat. Like I'm not sick, I feel fine, but I've just had this like weird like gross like thing. I just have to spit a lot because it builds up of like this like chunky, I think I maybe have a throat infection or sinus infection because I literally blew my nose today and it was like fucking full of blood. Have you read yeah, so after you gotta read Ravener, dude. It's so good. He's such a different fucking character than Eisenhorn, and like obviously the like to this day, I swear to God, guys, and if you haven't read the Eisenhorn trilogy, I would highly recommend you guys do it. To this day, my favorite scene in any Games Workshop book I have ever read is the parade of Thracian Prime in what is it, Xenos and Hereticus, which is sorry, is it Malleus? What's book 2 of Eisenhorn, Malleus or Hereticus? Xenos is the first one, I think Malleus is the second one. So the parade of Thracian Prime, that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to spoil it for people, is still to this day one of the scenes, the like scenes, I guess, in any of the books that I've read that I literally was like, holy shit, and had to like read it 3 times to like really get like how much of an impact that has. And when I first read the Eisenhorn trilogy, I read the paperback like way back when it came out, the original paperbacks, because back then audiobooks didn't really exist, or they didn't have them the way that they do now. And I just remember reading that that passage, like that whole chapter on Thracian Prime, the parade, and I was like, the fucking alpha level psychers going around and just fucking blowing up people's brains. So sick, like so sick. So that was still one of my favorite scenes of 40k I've ever read. And also Dan Abnett is just such a fucking like master when it comes to storytelling. So Ravener is just amazing as well. And why I bring it up, Andrew, is because that's where Ravener is born, is in that scene, right? So he becomes Ravener essentially after that, right? That's the event that creates Ravener, the Ravener that is in the novels, in the chair, right, as they call him. And so for me, that event not only has a really, it's not also, yeah, it's not only such a cool passageway, but it's like the genesis, it's like the origin story of Inquisitor Ravener. And when you read Ravener later, it has such a, Ravener's so cool that it just makes that story. And obviously part of the Ravener story is his coping with the tragedy and the horror of the injuries he suffered during the parade, right? So when you read Ravener, it's like even more that the parade scene, it just gets more and more like critical as like this crazy event in your head because it created the Ravener that we know, you know? During the Siege of Macragge. Is that... Yeah, because you gotta remember, if you didn't know, Ravener was one of Eisenhorn's pupils, and he was just a normal Inquisitor. He was not in a fucking box, and he gets basically maimed at the siege, the Parade of Thracian Prime, and he's basically like burnt, like 90% burnt to a crisp, and he only hangs on because of his psychic prowess. And they put him in the fucking box, and then that's when he becomes the Ravener that we know in the fucking super psychic Ravener, right? What book does he come back in the Siege of Macragge? Yeah, I loved see, I'm old school, so a lot of the books that I read were like the older ones. I haven't read a lot of the so I'd say in the last 10 years mostly I've been reading 30k books and some of the 40k books like the Dark Imperium and Plague War I read, but I haven't read all of the 30k books, to be honest, or the newer 40k books. Yeah, guys, sorry, I was mentioning, this is the first stage I go in with my brush, and this is where I actually start doing my correction. So anywhere where I've like over painted with wash or maybe gotten gold where I shouldn't have, this is the stage that I go and actually fix it by hand. Anywhere where I've like overdone it, everything up to this stage, I'm sloppy as fuck, to be honest. Because I know that there's gonna be like washes happening, other steps happening. And then this is the first stage where I'm actually starting to be careful about how I paint things. So I get it to this point, this kind of like, this is what I kind of call like a base model. Like I'd say like kind of a base model version, whatever. Yeah. Oh yeah, see, I didn't actually read the 7th edition stuff because I wasn't playing 7th. I just remember him coming back. So I never actually read his story of when he came back, but maybe I will check it out because obviously a Primarch fucking resurrecting out of the temple of, what is it, Temple of Hera on Macragge? Is that the name of it? What's the name of the temple, or the Temple of Macragge? Isn't Hera the city though? Am I making that up? Fortress of Hera. That's what it was. See, I'm not that out of it. I was like, I know a little lore. Fortress of Hera. So you can see here what I'm doing, guys. I'm going with my Armand Blue, and I'm basically glazing it into this kind of mid-tone, and also just fixing any correction, any gold that's kind of spilled, and building into my mid-tone, my blue. You can see how that's how my kind of blends are starting to come together. Like you can see here, there's too much purple. So I'm gonna go put the blue back in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I should just read those Primarch books. After Alfarius, I definitely should go back. I think I have the Magnus one on Audible. The problem isn't like, I haven't had time. I have a bunch of audiobooks queued up. Like I still have the Armand series from Mike French, I think, John French. I read the first book, or I think I'm a bit through the first book. No, I did read the first book in the Armand series. I just didn't like the narrator on the audiobook, so I've been kind of avoiding it. That's the one problem with the audiobooks, is like if you don't like the narrator, it cannot be amazing. Like Jonathan Keeble, who's like the main guy that does all the 30k books, he's an amazing narrator. But if you don't like the narrator in the audiobooks, it can be really like hard to get through. Yeah, of course Marnies didn't like it. Didn't they retcon this whole thing though with the armor where like at first he had to like always wear it and now he can like exist without it? Isn't that like a thing now? What? Yeah, it doesn't make sense though. Like either he needs it or he doesn't. I like I don't know what book it is. I think it's maybe Betrayal at Calth, where he basically like he starts fighting like outside the spaceship, like without any sort of like oxygen mask, and he's like, oh, I didn't know I could do that, and he's just like fighting in open space, like totally unprotected. And like killing fucking word bearers all over the ship. It's either Betrayal at Calth or it's like one of the other, maybe like yeah, it's one of those, one of the Calth ones. I think it's the one where he actually gets stabbed by the Anathem by Erebus, I think, and then he like fucks up Erebus super bad. Like Erebus slashes him with the like the Anathem blade? How do you say it? I don't know. Atheme or whatever. And then he fucks up Erebus. He like rips his throat out or something like that. But somehow Erebus lives, obviously. It's either him or For Charon. Is that how you say it? For Charon, who's like, there's Erebus, who's like the word bearers dude, and then there's For Charon, which is the I think that's the Sons of Horus dude. Yeah, Corpharon. What was I saying? For Charon? Corpharon, yeah, that guy. I think, doesn't he like rip out his throat? He gets cut by the blade, like the Anthem blade, he gets stabbed by it. And then he like rips out Corpharon's throat and like Corpharon has to fucking teleport away. And just barely survives. Is that the book that I'm thinking? That might be Battle for the Abyss, actually. Yeah, dude. He's so pissed off with the Imperium. I just wish, like, that's the thing though, like, why I wish they showed more insight into like, because the Primarchs are they're such like primal forces in like the galaxy. I wish we knew more about like I know he's pretty like fucked up with like what's happened to the Imperium and stuff. But they don't talk about it enough, right? I know in, I think it's Plague War, he's like, there's like a chaplain basically, who's like the religious, he's like a religious, he's very, very like into the Emperor as a god, and like, Gilliman has these like talks with them, kind of like philosophical talks, because it's Gilliman obviously, and I thought that was really interesting. And he kind of tries to like understand like why they're so, like why they're so bought into the Emperor. But we'll see. Yeah, I gotta get through Mortis. Because I guess they announced the new one. What's it called? It's the one with the Khan and the Mortarion on the cover. That looks really cool. I never really liked the Khan. I think he's kind of like, I don't know, a little too like folksy for a Primarch. I get it, like he probably pretends he's kind of dumb, just like Leman Russ does. But he's just a little too like, he seemed a little too simple-minded. Like obviously a great warrior and stuff, But I just always picture the Primarchs as like, not only were they like amazing warriors, but they were like scholars, you know? And Khan just seems like a little bit too, and I think it's just the way they write him, but they make him seem too much of kind of just like a brute. And I also think the audiobook narration doesn't help because Jonathan Keeble does this like kind of like, I don't know, I guess Mongolian voice, however you describe it, and it definitely doesn't help with the way that he sounds. First among equals Warhawk, that's what it is. Hey Chris, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. You mean the con accent? Senior Spooky, are you talking about the con accent? So these are well, this is my this is the champion of the unit. It's based off the Eidolon model, but all of the regular dudes are based off Chaos Space Marines. The guns are from yeah, exactly. All the White Scars have like such funny accents in the audiobooks. So the bodies are Chaos Space Marines. The arms, weapons are from Pop Goes the Monkey, and the backpacks are from Cromlech. It's not that I gave up waiting. They got good, so I had to make some. I'll still buy the new ones whenever those come out. Thanks, dude. Yeah. I don't really mind it, guys. Like, I don't know. I know a lot of people have like issues with like some of the like tropes, I guess. But like, and yeah, I think Games Workshop, if any that are like super offensive, they should definitely work to like update those. But I don't know. I guess I recognize that like it is what it is from its time. And I just like understand the history, I guess. I don't try to find offense in it, unless it's like really like stereotypical, and like I don't know, like even like I heard some people complaining about the fact that like even the Great Crusade, which is like something that the Emperor goes on, like uses the word crusade, and like crusade has like connotations of like religious, like the real life world like crusades we had here, and so like they shouldn't use crusades because like it's gonna create people being like against like people becoming Islamophobic because it's gonna make them think about like that it's okay to go on crusades. And I was like, guys, I think that's a stretch. And then they're like, well, what if you were from like what if you were Muslim and like you heard this crusade word, wouldn't you be upset? I'm like, I don't know, man. That was like 600 years ago. I'm pretty sure if you're like a Muslim now, there's like probably 1,000 other things you have to worry about. Like most of the violence that happens these days between in Islam is between Muslims. It's not between Christians and Muslims. Obviously Christians do their part, but Muslims kill more Muslims than Christians kill Muslims. Again, not my dad's Muslim, so like, and I come from Iran, right? So it's a Muslim country. So I know like I'm not Muslim, I'm an atheist, but I have a lot of family that's Muslim, and I'm just saying Muslims don't care about, for the most part, they don't care. They're not thinking about like, oh, they use the word crusade, they're trying to encourage people to like invade Jerusalem and stuff, which is not even you know what I'm saying? I'd be more worried about like other kinds of things, right? Yeah, but the problem, see, the thing is, like, the thing with the salamanders, though, that's okay. So salamanders is a good example, and I'll push back on you a bit, Wyatt. Like, salamanders have a lore reason that they have dark skin, right? Like, it's a very like legitimate lore reason, which is the planet that they're raised on, and like, that's not racist to. I don't think there's anything racist about having a Space Marine chapter with dark skin or anything like that. I think that's actually cool that they even have a whole chapter of like where people with dark skin are represented. Now, if you're gonna say, well, it's actually they're just white people with blackface, basically, yeah, that's offensive. But like, I don't see the actual salamanders culturally are not. There's nothing weird about them. Now, white scars, I would argue, there's definitely some like. I guess cultural tropes in there, but like that they're basically Mongolians, right? They're basically supposed to be like Genghis Khan, right? The fact that they all have last names of Khans, right? It's supposed to basically be Mongolians, right? No one's fooling there. Salamanders, the only thing is that they're born under that crazy sun, and they have their skin is dark, which is very like in real life. That's why we have people with dark skin, is because of the sun. Like the higher levels of melanin in their skin, right? So I'm brown skin. There's lots of and people in Africa, the reason that they adapted to that climate is because they have more melanin in their skin, which makes them darker. And so the more melanin you have, the more you're able to stay on the sun, etc. So that's not like melanin. I think I said melanin. I was about to say melatonin. I'm like, that's not the right one. So I don't think so if you said, hey, there's a planet where the sun is so fucked that everyone has crazy melanin, I don't think that's like a racist thing. Now, and on top of that, the salamanders are like, the salamanders are like one of the most noble, like amazing, nice, like caring Space Marine chapters, right? Vulcan was like a fucking one of the only Primarchs that like actually cared about people. So if anything, all the fucking white chapters are trash, and the salamanders should be like the they should be like the fucking like model citizens of what people should be, right? Oh, I see. I didn't know that. I just assumed they were always mutated, right? I don't know who Tushan is. I assume that's a salamander of some kind? Character? So yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on it. I don't know. I'm like, I have like a complicated, I guess. Yeah, like if I was, here's the thing. I think the salamanders are some of the coolest guys in 40K. Now, if they were, here's the thing. If the salamanders were like dark skinned, and then they portrayed them as like not as smart, as like eating fried chicken, as like, you know, whatever, all those like awful racist stereotypes, like as like less intelligent or more like savage. If they had the salamanders and they're like, there's this dark skinned racist face and they're the most savage, they're low cunning and savage and all these kinds of things, like all those old stereotypes, I'd be like, yeah, that's a fucking problem. You guys should not, that's bad. Do not do that. But if they're like, no, they're actually like the most noble, amazing, like things, right? Yeah, but the Space Wolves are based off like more Vikings, right? And like, historically, like, but again, the Space Wolves aren't portrayed as like dumb or anything like that, right? They're just, that's their like, they're like, the Space Wolves are very smart. They're one of the like, Lehman Russ is one of the smartest. Lehman Russ is one of the smartest Primarchs. I actually, one of the reasons I like Lehman Russ is because like he's very he's like deceptive, right? Like everyone, he puts on the character of Leman Russ, where he's like pretends to be kind of like this, what people think he is, which is kind of like a savage, but he's actually like super cunning and like super like he puts on that like illusion of like who he really is, but really he's like fucking super smart and like, yeah, I guess that's you're probably right, but like I also think that like at some point, if you have like a I guess concept like this, like the salamanders, right? And you're like, look, here's this chapter, here's all the background that we wrote, here's the body of evidence, here's the like history of this chapter, yeah, exactly. And here's the history of this chapter, and we stand by it because we think it's great, and we don't care that we see that you you're trying to find a fence where none exists, because if you look at all the things we wrote, if you look at the way that this chapter presents itself, like there's got to be a point where you got to stand up to people who are going to try to cancel you based on a perceived offense. Now, if there's a real offense, then yeah, obviously change it. But in this case, I would argue that like Games Workshop should, like, if anyone comes and be like, oh, the Games Workshop is racist because they made the one black race like the most noble, like caring, like humble, like race, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like you're completely like mental. Yeah, I like Leman Russ. I think he's a cool Primarch because he's like, because he's a badass like from a fighting perspective, but I like that he's cunning, right? He's got this intelligence that I really like about him, right? I mean, obviously he's not that smart. Fucking Horus fooled him, but Horus fooled a lot of people. So, you know, there's very few people probably in the Imperium that could have fooled Leman Russ, right? And Horus is one of them. Horus and the Emperor and like maybe Malkador are probably like the only three like people enough, and Magnus maybe with enough intellect to like fool Leman Russ. Yeah, of course, Wyatt, I agree with you, but like, then we gotta ignore that crowd. I don't think, why would we cater to that crowd? A crowd full of irrational, crazy, like, people that are gonna make big deals out of nothing, right? I think you just ignore that. You can't always like appease everyone, right? People like that, I just ignore. So, otherwise, because the thing is, there's whatever argument you want to make, like there's no argument you can make for the Salamanders that I couldn't make for any of the other chapters way worse. So like I don't understand where you'd go with that. Now White Scars, obviously you could, especially because it's not just that they sound Mongolian, but if you look at all the pictures, they look Asian, right? No, dude, I don't think so. I think you're like overestimating how much of a demographic there is for this specific issue. I'm not saying that there aren't other issues where, yeah, it could affect the stock price, but in the case of someone like the Salamanders, I just don't think there's enough people out there that are like, Games Workshop has this black race that they. What I could see is like white people getting mad, right? They could be like, hey, this is Games Workshop's critical race theory in practice, and they're making they want white people to feel bad, and so they've made the only good race in 40k as Space Marines, as these black people, and they're portraying all of the white people as like imperialistic conquerors and who don't care about anything. So actually, the people that I think could be more offended by this whole situation is not like people of color. It would be white people who basically are saying that they're making black people or people of color like too good over white people. Yeah. So basically, it's reverse racism, they'll call it. Right? Times are too easy, so people have to grasp things, yeah. I don't say times are too easy, man. I said times for a lot of people are too easy, but not for everyone. It's been a tough year for a lot of people, man. Not everyone has it easy right now, so we're not out of the woods yet, you know, my friend? Don't you hate it when you're painting something and you find a mold line? And if you're like me, you have to go and like remove it immediately, even if that means ruining the paint job, because you know it's there. Yeah, I think PETA did. The one thing I will agree, so I all my restaurants are vegan. I have five vegan restaurants, and so I'm very involved in the vegan community. From like like in a lot of the social circles. I'm part of like a bunch of vegan Facebook groups. I'm part of I've been involved with some vegan organizations in the past. I'm not vegan myself, but what I will tell you is the vegans will come after you for fucking just about everything. They have some fucking like I love them, but sometimes they're completely totally insane, and it's like there's such a wide group of them. There's a lot of really good ones that just want to do good for the planet, but there's a lot of like a lot of them where no matter what you do, it's never going to be good enough. So you just got to learn to ignore those kinds of people. Dude, here's the thing I'll say, Wyatt. Everyone I talk to that, like, put aside the vegan food for a sec. Just know you can make really good food without animal products. You just got to know how. But there's a lot of really bad vegan food out there. And so, like, and vegan cooking has come a long way, and there's a lot of bad vegan food, but like, we win awards, like my restaurants have won awards in not vegan categories, but in like normal categories, because everything we do at a high, like what's it called? What's Daniel Hume's restaurant in New York? It just went fully vegan. 11 Madison Park. So that's his restaurant. It's like a 3 Michelin star restaurant in I think it's in New York. They just went completely vegan there. So you can make really good vegan food, but it's not, you can't, it's not like, yeah. You gotta just stop looking at it the lens of like, just because it's like, yeah, there's lots of bad vegan food, just like there's lots of bad non-vegan food, right? It obviously takes a lot more work though, because it's not like, you know, you can throw a piece of chicken or a steak on the barbecue, and it's pretty hard to fuck up. I mean, you can definitely overcook it. But even an overcooked steak still tastes like steak for the most part, right? It's obviously not gonna be juicy, it's not gonna be as tasty, but it's still gonna taste like halfway decent. Yeah, I what's oh shit, seriously? Yeah. Yeah, I don't drink much regular milk anymore. I used to I just don't like I love cheese. Cheese is like fucking my kryptonite. Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, 11 Madison going, oh yeah, 11 Madison went full vegan. And they have a 15, listen to this, a 15,000 person wait list right now to get in for their reopening. I think they just reopened, or they're gonna be reopening soon. They have a 15,000 person wait list. And that restaurant, I guarantee you, is gonna be winning fucking Michelin stars, and it's fully vegan. So like, there's Crossroads Kitchen in LA is one of my favorite. There's lots of really, really great vegan restaurants. But the thing is, here's the thing about good vegan food. You don't know it's vegan, right? Because it's not about, the veganness of it isn't center. And a lot of times, like when you go to like, and you know, I could talk, guys. I've been doing vegan restaurants for almost 7 years now. So I have a lot of thoughts on the process, but here, and I've been to a lot of fucking awful vegan restaurants. But one of the things is like, the focus always needs to be on flavor, on texture, on all the things that you'd normally focus on when you make good non-vegan food. But a lot of vegan restaurants, they think that just being vegan is like enough. Like they're gonna get a bunch of the hippies and the whatevers, and they're just gonna throw quinoa and a bunch of fucking weird shit on stuff like tahini, fucking miso, like nutritional yeast nonsense, and a bunch of veggies, and they're gonna call it a day, and that's gonna be good. It's not good. Like you have to really craft the vegan food to be balanced, well textured, well cooked, everything just like everything else. It has to have lots of flavor too, because you're not going to get like the flavor from like a piece of chicken or a piece of meat, whatever. No, you didn't. You did miss the ad mic rants, but I can talk about whatever the fuck I want in my hobby chat. So that's what I'm talking about right now. Veganness. But yeah. I will definitely think about it. Remind me when you guys are in Vegas at LVO, Wyatt. I don't know. Usually I'm kind of bound to my group that I come with, but I'd be down to sneak off for like a really good steak, because I haven't had like a good steak, and I actually had steak last night. I was craving one. I went to a restaurant and just had like a 7-ounce sirloin. But I don't eat steak that often, but sometimes I just get like really big cravings for it. Medium rare, obviously. I had it with asparagus and peppercorn sauce. It was really good. Yeah, just remind me, man. I'm usually just such a mess in Vegas. And here's the thing, this year, because I'm not really going to be competing, like I'm going to be playing, but I'm not going to be competing because I'm not going to be in any like place. I'm not going to be from a ITC perspective and from like a player practice skill perspective, in a place where competing is going to be super important for me at this year's LVO. I'm probably going to be in extra party mode gym, which means like I might not even eat for a day, if I'm just like being honest with you, because I'm just going to be a full-on wrecking ball, and self-destructive. So dude, like there's a very good chance at LVO this year I don't even play the full event. Because if day one I roll in, if I go day one, guys, and I fucking go like 1 and 2 or some bullshit, I'm not fucking playing day 2. Fuck that. You know? I'm gonna go fucking have fun. I mean, maybe I fucking roll in for my 4th game, but if I go 1 and 2, or like even 2 and 1 the first day, I'm gonna get fucking wrecked that night, which means the odds of me making it to my game 4 on day 2 are, right? If I go 3-0, which is highly doubtful because I'm gonna be very out of practice and like just not having played enough and just not probably running those meta thing. I mean, look, who knows? Maybe the 1,000 Suns book comes out and Chaos Space Marine comes out before the end of the year and they're fucking broken, and I roll into LVO with like a broken ass, like the most broken ass army, already done with lots of practice, whatever. I don't think that's gonna happen, but do you really think me, if after my first day at LVO, if I'm like less than 500, I'm gonna show up for fucking day 2 all like not hungover and not having gambled till fucking 8 in the morning and, you know, partied and done all sorts of other like shit, you know? I know what Vegas is for. If you guys don't think that that's what I'm gonna do, then you guys don't know me, and that's okay, because a lot of you don't know me, but yeah. Okay, guys, actually, hey, who wants to help me out? I'm gonna ask you guys a relationship question. Some of you probably, this is probably the worst crowd to ask anything, from a bunch of fucking Warhammer nerds, bunch of Warhammer fucking incels about like, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna ask you guys, but it'll be fun because I'll do it live. I'll do it live on the stream right now. So let me give you guys the, hold on, I just dropped my brush. Let me give you guys the context really quick. This will be hilarious. Hey man, I'm not a Warhammer. I'm just joking, guys. I know you guys aren't incels. I just was making a joke. Part of the reason I haven't been painting is because I've been involved in too many relationships with girls from the opposite sex. And it's been causing a lot of heartache and trouble for me. But okay, so here's I'm gonna ask you guys a poll, or I guess for a piece of advice. I don't know how to even ask you guys, but I just think it's funny because I was thinking about it because I was just on my phone a little bit. So I'm a chef and I cook professionally. I know some of you are like, I don't work as a chef, but I'm a like I have restaurants, and so I have a lot of followers on my Instagram that follow me for my food, right? They're like people that like just kind of, they know me from the restaurants. I've done like some TV. So I'm like, I don't want to say I'm not like a celebrity chef by any means. Like I'm not like that well known, but I'm like, you can find my name if you like, and I'm known enough within the circles, especially the people that go to my restaurants, that people kind of know who I am, right? So, well, why am I telling you this? Well, the reason I'm telling you is because I have a lot of followers on my Instagram that follow me, people that follow me randomly that I don't know in real life, I've never met in real life, but are fans of the restaurant, right? So they might go to like Mila, they might go to Virtuous Pie, which is our other restaurant, and they like love the food, they're like, oh, it's amazing. And through, you know, regular social media stalkery, they discover that I'm the business director, I'm the culinary development guy, I have all the recipes on my Instagram, I show people like the food that I'm working on. So I have a lot of people that follow me on Instagram kind of through the channel's restaurant. All right, so what does that mean? Well, there's often lots of girls that do that because I run vegan restaurants, and guess what, guys? The cool thing about fucking vegan restaurants is girls, there's lots of fucking cute girls that eat at vegan restaurants, right? And then go to vegan restaurants. And I meet lots of people, not these days because I don't work in a restaurant, but I used to meet a lot of people through the restaurant
that were like fans of the restaurant, and so when they'd find out that those were my restaurants, they'd be like super hype, right? Okay, so there's this girl that follows me on Instagram. She's super cute. She's been like, we've been DMing back and forth probably for a year. Like I'll post something foodie, she'll comment on it. She'll post something foodie because I'll usually follow them back if I think they're not like weirdos. She'll post something foodie, I'll comment on it. We'll have a little like DM exchange, right? We'll talk about food stuff. She'll send me like food pictures. I send her food pictures. Like it's very like, it's very, I wouldn't say it's like flirty, but it's very like even today, like out of the blue, she was at a store eating some fucking chocolatey something, and she sent me a photo of this like jar of whatever. She's like, oh, you have to try this, it's so good. So there's that banter, right? There's like a conversation, like just back and forth, and it's not always food related, it's like non-food related, whatever. But I'm not a creepy dude, so I always felt really weird asking girls out that I didn't like over social, like you know the whole trope, like, oh, slide into my DMs, right? I always felt weird, like if I would slide into a girl's DMs and be like, yo, you're cute, baby, like let's hang out, like let's let's hook up, whatever. I think that's really gross, and like I would never ever do that, right? That's not me. But in this specific case, I've been like talking to this girl for like a year, chatting with her. I know she goes to the restaurant because whenever she's there, she like tells me she's there, even though I'm not at the restaurant, so I never see her there. Or sometimes she asks if I'm gonna be at the restaurant, whatever. Anyways, I was thinking, she messaged me again today while we were on the stream, and I was like, maybe I should just ask this girl if she wants to like grab a coffee or like go check out a new restaurant or something like that. But then I'm like, I guess the noble part of me is like, is that creepy? Is that like, is she gonna feel like, is that gonna, because I don't want to ruin our, like, I don't want to ruin the fact that we talk, like we DM back and forth, we have like fun banter, we have all this stuff. I don't want to ruin it by like being now this like creepy Instagram stalker dude. So chat, what do you guys think? Yeah, but dude, we live in 2021. If I ask a girl out from Instagram to come hang out with me, it's not going to be like to go for a fucking friendly coffee. No, she's not dumb. We're like similar in age. She's cute. I'm single. She's single. She did obviously. So that's why I'm like, it's not as creepy, right? But I still am a little bit hesitant because the part of me that like doesn't do that, like that's not how I like to meet and talk to people over like, and to try to pick up girls over DMs. I've done it once before where I had a fan of the restaurant basically start messaging me a lot and like chatting with me a lot, and then I ended up going on a date with her, and it didn't end well. Like, oh, sorry, it didn't end up anywhere. Like we weren't but it just wasn't like, yeah. Should I do it right now on stream and see what she says? Chat, give me a yay or nay. Here, I'll do it right now. I am a gentleman, man. I'm a gentleman. No, I'm not gonna do it on stream. I'm gonna do it right now while I'm streaming, and then I can give you guys a live update of what she says. Is my point. I'm not gonna show you guys what I say, but I could message her right now because she just DM'd me, and I was like, maybe I ask her right now, and then I can give you guys a live update of the situation. And here's the thing, guys. I'm going on a date with a girl. I'm hanging with a girl tomorrow night, a different girl on Saturday. This is not like my, and I'm not saying that to brag, but my point is like, I have nothing invested in this. Like if it blows up in my face, I don't really care because it's not like, oh, my only chance with this one girl is like God, right? It's more just like, hey, it'd be kind of a fun thing to do, you know? And this will also sound creepy, but there's probably a half dozen girls that I regularly DM with over Instagram, just like this one, who like, it's just kind of this like back and forth, like I know them through the restaurant, through food, and it's just like this constant DM back and forth. And I always wonder, I'm like, what should I do with all these girls? Should I ask them out? Should I try to meet up with them? Should I do something like that? And I never know. I've never done it because I feel kind of creepy, right? I wish you could run polls. Anyways. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't do it on stream because I don't want the fact that I'm on stream to pressure me to do it. You know? That's not why I wanted to do it, because I've been thinking about it for a while. But just today, it was like extra flirtatious. And again, I say flirtatious with a little bit of like tongue-in-cheek because it's not that flirtatious. Like, she sends me heart eyes on like I posted a photo of food I was making today for a test, and she sent me like heart eyes on it. And then she sent me like other foods and like stuff like it's very like food focused, I guess. Yeah. I just don't want to like look, here's the thing. Even if I come across as creepy, I don't care. She can unfollow me and not talk to me again. And like, I don't like, I'm not like out and I'm not gonna be like heartbroken, like, oh, woe is me, this girl. Yeah. The other thing too is I don't know how old she is and I'm 37. She seems younger, which is like, not like underage, but like, she definitely sees like, she seems like she's probably like in her mid-20s from based on my assessment of her like social media creeping. I just, you know what it is though? So here's the thing, Wyatt. Okay, this is the other point. This is why I'm hesitant. So, and this will sound really, really bad. And this isn't, I'm not saying this in like a braggadocious way. I just want you guys to understand why I wouldn't do this right now. The timing is bad. I'm already involved with like 2 different girls right now, casually. Like one that I'm hanging out with tomorrow, and then one I've been seeing for about a month and a half. And another one, actually it's maybe even 3 girls. So like adding a 4th girl into this mix is not needed right now. And so I'd much rather like keep this piece in my back pocket, this girl, keep her kind of engaged on the social media Instagram situation. And then when maybe all these girls that are in my life kind of disappear and I'm like, I got nothing going on, I got no prospects, then be like, all right, let's take this off the shelf. Let's give this one a go. I feel like that's a better move. It's like the timing is better. You know, I don't want to blow my load, pardon the pun, of like dates and girls that I'm seeing all in the summer, and then say come fall winter when the 2 or 3 people that I'm seeing right now blow up, and they will blow up. Guys, you need to understand, I'm not hopeless because I'm a bad guy or like I don't have game, because I do. I'm hopeless because I'm just cursed and like I'll die single and die alone. So my point is, I'm basically done painting at this point, guys, because it's been about 2 hours, so I'm gonna kind of wrap it up here. But I'll leave you on this final anecdote. But I guess my point is like, it makes more sense to me to continue this like charade, I guess, or this like relationship until I actually like feel like I have nothing left on the table, and then kind of maybe talk to this girl. I don't know. That's also true. Hey, she could be married and have a boyfriend and I don't know it, right? So right now, why is life so hard? Also, I know it sounds like I'm swimming in pussy, guys. I'm not. All of these girls I'm dealing with are fucking totally psychotic. The thing you guys gotta understand about my social circles is I party a lot, and I'm in like I like have a very I'd say I don't know how to describe this. I have a very chaotic social circle with a lot of people that do a lot of drugs, that listen to a lot of music, that go to a lot of like crazy parties, that are just very kind of carefree. And so none of these girls that I'm currently like involved with are ones that like I think will ever settle down or are in a place where it's like girlfriend material. They're all just ticking time bombs of like various levels of crazy, ready to, and I like that because I like crazy girls. So I like the insane ones, but they all have like limited life expectancies from a relationship standpoint. It's like they burn bright and then the whole thing blows up because someone goes invariably totally mental. So I don't want you guys to think I'm in all these like successful relationships. It's literally just a hobby of mine, just to try to not have this whole thing blow up in my face. That's kind of like probably what I've been spending a lot of. Well, yeah, the thing is I'm single, so sticking my dick in crazy is great. I'm not looking for a relationship, so crazy's fucking fun, and it's fantastic, and I deal with it. Yeah, I've been dealing with it. Yeah. So, all right, I'm not gonna do it, guys. I decided I'm not gonna do it. I've talked myself out of it for a rainy day. Let me see how this week goes, because 2 of the girls on my like current lineup, I sound so awful. I think they could just end up being over by this week, like basically blowing up in my face. So let me see where we're at next Wednesday, and maybe by then I'll be single and lonely and sad, and then I'll do it. I promise you guys that. But tune in for that stream because that'll be fun. All right, guys, it's been over 2 hours. It's 10 o'clock. Holy shit. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys are all amazing. I will be back. Again, no stream tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday for another hobby chat. But yeah, talk to you guys later.